Star Wars Republic Commando.
Enemy terminated. Proceed to next sector.
20 years on from its initial release, is it worth playing in 2025? That's a question I will answer in this video based off when I played through the game recently. If you like this type of content, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to see more. Now, let's begin. Star Wars Republic Commando was initially released on the 1st of March 2005 for the original Xbox and Windows. It was one of several Star Wars games that came out in 2005 in the months leading up to the release of the upcoming final chapter of the prequel trilogy, Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. In addition, it was a tie-in game which served as marketing for Revenge of the Sith, due to including elements that would feature in the film. To make this game more widely available to play on modern platforms, Aspyr ported it to the Nintendo Switch and PS4 on the 6th of April 2021, with some modern enhancements. You can additionally play Republic Commando on any Xbox console, not just the original, although the best option would be the Series X or S, which provides improved resolution, faster loading times, auto HDR if your display supports it, and a more stable frame rate that is more or less locked at 60 FPS. You can either use the original Xbox disc if you own it, or you can buy the digital version from the Xbox store. Republic Commando includes a single-player campaign which begins during the events of Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, more specifically the Battle of Geonosis, and concludes just before Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, when the Battle of Kashyyyk starts. The campaign has 3 chapters, with the first occurring on Geonosis, the second on an assault ship, and the third on Kashyyyk. Geonosis consists of 6 missions, the assault ship 4 and Kashyyyk 7, making for a total of 17 missions, although it's worth noting that the first and last missions, Prologue and Epilogue, are simply cutscenes. On the website How Long to Beat, the main story is estimated to take an average of 9 hours to complete, with the average for a leisurely playthrough being nearly 12 hours. When I play a game for the first time, I prefer to play at a leisurely pace so I can really immerse myself in the game. Therefore, the time it took me to complete Republic Commando was closer to the leisurely average, as it took me around 12 hours. Personally, it will most likely take me longer than the average main story length you first see for a game on How Long to Beat. What extended my playthrough were the many times I was incapacitated, along with all the times my squad were killed while I was down, and this was due to playing on medium. The difficulty the game is set to by default. I felt that Republic Commando's story was a decent length, especially for a first-person shooter, when compared with campaigns of other FPS titles. However, it's worth noting that Republic Commando's focus was on the campaign, despite having a multiplayer mode. Finally, what do I think of the story itself? Overall, I think it's good, but I'll say no more than that, as this is simply an is it worth playing video. I'll talk about the story in more detail in my eventual review of Republic Commando. Now let's talk about the gameplay. Republic Commando is a first-person shooter that allows you to carry a maximum of 3 weapons. 2 of these, the DC-17M interchangeable weapon system and the DC-15S sidearm blaster, are in your arsenal by default and will remain there for the entirety of the campaign. It's worth mentioning that the DC-17M can run out of ammunition, and if that happens, you will automatically switch to the DC-15S, which has unlimited ammo, but must recharge after each shot you fire. Meanwhile, you will find numerous weapons that can be acquired during your playthrough of the single-player campaign, usually through killing enemies who wield them. You can only take one of these weapons at a time. In addition to wielding weapons, you can throw detonators, or grenades, of which there are 4 different kinds. Up to 5 of each kind can be carried, and they can be found throughout different areas of each map. Each kind of detonator, or grenade, is unique and effective in their own way. Going back to the 2 default weapons, the DC-17M is a decent weapon which can be quite effective against weaker enemies, while the DC-15S is more of a last resort backup weapon that isn't very effective. When you have a weapon equipped, such as the DC-17M, you can also use a retractable knuckle plate vibro blade to take out your enemies. For other weapons that don't allow the use of this blade, you can instead smack enemies with that weapon. In terms of gameplay mechanics, Republic Commando has one that is rather unique in that you can control the actions of your squad. You play through most of the campaign with your squad, which is made up of your character, Boss, Fixer, Scorch and Sev. Each member of the squad has their own speciality, and these can be used to help you progress through the story. There is a tactical element to the gameplay which allows you to plan how you can approach encounters with enemies. Moreover, there are 4 different commands you can give to the entire squad, which will stop the AI from doing their own thing and performing actions you don't want them to. Overall, I'd say the AI for each member of your squad is pretty good, considering the game came out in 2005. They're quite effective in firefights and can even heal you if you are incapacitated. This all makes sense considering you're playing through the campaign with 3 CPUs, and teamwork is a core factor of the campaign that will make progressing through the story significantly easier. As for the enemy AI, they are mostly intelligent. 2 examples of this are certain enemies can kick away detonators you throw their way back in your direction, which can catch you off guard, and at times you can hear an enemy say that they heard or detected movement if you are close close enough to them while they can't see you. Both examples are present in the first 2 Halo games too, which both released before Republic Commando. On the other hand, there were numerous occasions where the enemies were standing still and not reacting, or had their back to you and took ages to finally turn around and react if me or my squad hadn't already killed them. This made some firefights a bit easier than they should have been, but it was a relatively minor issue throughout my playthrough of the campaign. As well as its single-player campaign, Republic Commando incorporates a multiplayer mode. Even though the original Game Spy servers were shut down, on PC Gaming Wiki there is a community mod patch you can download that brings back multiplayer features. There's a separate multiplayer fix mod and a co-op mod which enables split-screen local play. I briefly tried the multiplayer as I downloaded the community mod patch, and there were only a small number of servers with active players. The first 2 servers seemed to just involve fighting bots, and there didn't seem to be much to them, while there was another server that didn't have bots which I didn't join. Maybe I needed to download the separate multiplayer fix mod to get more out of the multiplayer, as there are more recent YouTube videos of multiplayer gameplay that consist of different modes like capture the flag. I imagine that nowadays it would be hard to get the complete multiplayer experience that would have been on offer when Republic Commando released. Either way, it's safe to say the multiplayer is inferior to the single player campaign. One of the reasons why Republic Commando is regarded by many Star Wars fans as a classic is the soundtrack. Aside from John Williams' iconic soundtracks from the saga, sprinkled throughout the campaign, the game contains an original score comprising 15 tracks composed by Jesse Harlin, who served as the staff composer and music supervisor for LucasArts from 2003 until it was shut down in 2013. Other video games he's composed music for include Star Wars The Old Republic, Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Mafia Definitive Edition, to name a few. This OST sounds almost nothing like any other Star Wars game. Parts of certain tracks even reminded me of the scores from the Halo games. Most of the tracks are great, but there are several particularly memorable ones that have become iconic. Jesse Harlin's score sounds like it belongs in the Star Wars universe, while it has its own identity that reflects this game's atmosphere, environments, characters and their encounters. The last feature of this game I want to talk about before I give my opinion on whether this game is worth playing are the extras, and they are made up of 6 videos if you count the credits. Republic Commando released at a time when numerous video games had an extras feature where the contents may have included behind the scenes videos about the game's development, concept art, cutscenes, cinematics, trailers for the game itself, or even other games or films related to the game, etc. Modern games tend to lack these features, and the extras section of games as we knew them is sadly a product of a bygone era. I enjoyed watching Republic Commando's extras, as I have done with other games from this era, and they give you an insight into the work that went into developing the game, which I appreciate. Is Star Wars Republic Commando worth playing in 2025? My answer to that is definitely. If you're a Star Wars first-person shooter or Halo fan, or all the above like me, it's worth playing in my opinion. I include Halo fan because this game has similarities to the older Halo games, such as the score, the atmosphere, some of the maps, weapons, and how intelligent the enemy AI can be. I wouldn't be surprised if LucasArts took inspiration from the first 2 Halo games when they were developing Republic Commando. If you play the game on PC as I did, to get the best experience, look at Republic Commando's PC Gaming Wiki page where there's a plethora of fixes and enhancements for modern systems. I have a gaming laptop, and the strange thing about this game is that it doesn't simply run on the Nvidia graphics card instead of the integrated graphics if you change the setting in the Nvidia control panel, unlike other older games. The only way I could get the game to run on my GPU was through downloading a mouse acceleration fix, and that solved it somehow. So that's a problem you may run into if you have a PC with both integrated and dedicated graphics. As for playing the game on consoles, the best options are probably either the PS4 port, which you can play on PS5 too, or the original Xbox version on the Xbox One or Series consoles through backwards compatibility. As I mentioned earlier, the campaign is challenging. I don't know how much less difficult easy is compared to medium in this game, but I'd like to think you would complete the campaign reasonably quicker than on medium. Judging by how difficult medium was, I dread to think how difficult hard is, but that could be an interesting challenge to attempt. On your first playthrough, I would say it's best to stick with easy or medium, depending on how much of a challenge you want. Overall, I would no doubt recommend Republic Commando, as it makes for a compelling Star Wars video game experience like no other. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this type of video. Be sure to give this video a like if you did, and maybe even subscribe to see more content like this. Enjoy the rest of your day, and that is all.